Same old Jets. They get smacked again. 32-19. The scoreboard flatters them. They were worse than that. Yes, it's a tough road game against the San Francisco 49ers, who are a good team. But you know what? It started in typical fashion. It started with hope. Aaron Rodgers was there. He's back. This is the second comeback, or the second arrival of Aaron Rodgers at the Jets. Last one didn't count. Fourth snap did his Achilles. This time, it'll work. This time, he's prepared. This time, we'll see some offensive continuity and some serious hope going forward, not just at the start of the season, not just in the offseason, but some signs that this team could actually do something. Well, that wasn't the case. Christian McCaffrey's not playing. That's a big win, right? Surely that makes the Jets favourites when the best skill player in the league is out and you don't have to compete with that, and you're coming up against a third-year undrafted free agent at running back in Jordan Mason. Maybe that'll force Brock Purdy to throw the ball downfield a bit more. They can't rely on the ground and pound. They can't rely on the run game. Well, they can, it turns out, because Jordan Mason on 26 carries will go for 148 yards and a touchdown and utterly destroy the Jets. This guy, Joe Buck, made the point on the telecast, he hasn't had this many carries since high school. Even in college, he didn't get used this much. And then he just shows up tonight and he tears them apart. Unbelievable. But it was the same old stuff. The fourth snap again. It's cursed. The fourth snap is cursed. Last year it was the Rodgers Achilles. This year it's a punch from Fred Warner on the ball while Breece Hall, superstar, is carrying the ball. Gets knocked out, turned over. Straight away, already calamity. Then Alan Lazard's dropping passes. Then later in the game, Garrett Wilson lets one bounce off his chest for an interception. Then Breece Hall drops an easy one. I mean, it's just... Yes, it's week one, but this is the stuff that... if they're a decent team, if they're going to give us something, this is the stuff that needs to be ironed out. Not junk touchdowns late. Not good drives when it's all over. Not Tyrod Taylor coming in and throwing 6 of 7 for a touchdown for Alan Lazard's second touchdown of the day. The only good moments, there were 2 good moments, 2 drives. One drive which ended in a Breece Hall touchdown, which was vintage Rodgers managing the game beautifully, looking good. And the other was a perfect Aaron Rodgers throw in traffic over the top to Alan Lazard straight down the middle of the ground for a touchdown. And outside of that, the defense didn't hold up. Hassan Reddick's sitting on the sidelines saying, I want out, or pay me, or whatever he wants, whilst the front office just lets him. They pick up a guy and then they just let him dictate terms, and their defense got absolutely embarrassed tonight. Oh my goodness. It's I'm not a Jets fan, but man, if you're a Jets fan, you would be livid. We got to give the 49ers some credit because they made the Jets play like the Jets. You know, they didn't let themselves be absorbed by this fairy tale of Rodgers coming back and all of a sudden the Jets are good, because the Niners showed us that it's not going to be that easy. It's not going to be that easy. So all credit to them. They schooled them. Purdy was solid. He didn't throw picks. That's what we know and love about Purdy. He doesn't have to be spectacular, but he just, gets it done in the workman-like way that he does. 19 of 29 for 231 yards. As I said, Mason, 28 carries, 146. He went at 5.2 a carry, including that touchdown. Deebo Samuel, total scrimmage yards, had 78 and a TD. But there were just other moments where you thought that the 49ers were in charge, and they always were. Outside of the first quarter, they were never seriously threatened. The pick that I mentioned, Demetrius Flanagan fouls, he was the guy that picked it off, and that was just a typical one. I mean, it should have been caught by Wilson, or at least just contested, and Wilson's their one real target. He's the one guy. I know Lazard had 89 and 2 touchdowns, but most of that was junk time, and we know how unreliable Lazard can be. So the only glimmer of hope for the Jets in the first half was the connection between Rodgers and Wilson, and even that faded away towards the end. So week one, we know that, but they've got to show more, surely. Another thing that was huge for the 49ers, and we've seen some great kicker performances this week, was Jake Moody. How good was Jake Moody? He had a very good year last year, had a couple of misses towards the end, but we know he's a star kicker. 6 from 6. He might get in the MVP votes. Look, I'm going to give Jordan Mason the 5 today. I'll figure out the rest of the votes down the line. In a couple of days, we'll have the Outback QB MVP episode, the weekly episode, brought to you by the Stubby Club. But I just wanted to jump on here and unpack this all with you. And I'm sort of in disbelief that the Jets let themselves perform like this in week one, because nothing's changed. And you can say there's good bits, yeah. Across 60 minutes of football, there tends to be a couple of highlights. But that was no different to what we've seen in previous years. Good luck. We'll see you tomorrow.